All right, everyone, the shenanigans over the Biden classified document scandal continues. Today, first on Styx Hexenhammer, link in the description, archived of course. This is a CNN opinion piece. I have to focus on this one because it's just so off a friggin' wall. Now they're casting it as though Joe Biden had absolutely no problems politically prior to the classified documents scandal. And this is basically Iron Fist in Velvet Glove mode. I'll try to explain, but again, link in the description. You can read this for yourself. The gaslighting here is fairly sheer. So we look at the document scandal that Biden's embroiled in. He doesn't really have a legal defense for at least a few of the documents that he did take home with him many years ago to Delaware, to an unsecured location, literally, in some cases, his garage. He had documents that he appears to have taken when he was a senator, or they were related to his Senate experience, and he randomly took them while he was VP. We have no indicator or even claim by the White House that any attempt was made to declassify the material. The same is true with Mike Pence, by the way. We do have a legal defense with Donald Trump. And of course, that was treated as effectively the end of the world scandal. Oh my God, we've got him this time. They raided the Mar-a-Lago. The problem being the documents that were there, which were, at least currently we think so, more profuse. Well, he claims they were declassified and they were actually secured. We don't have that claim from Joe Biden. It has tarnished his image. It's dropping his approval in polling. But I would point out, isn't this like the half-dozenth time that there's been a major problem in the Biden administration in the last couple of years? You have the fall of Afghanistan. That one, a bunch of U.S. Marines actually died. We don't know that anyone died because Joe Biden had classified material in his garage. It's possible, but we haven't put two and two together yet. We're not sure yet. We look at the Bidenflation situation, which thankfully appears to have peaked. Now it's gone more or less linear. It's better than the alternative, but it still remains historically high. You've still got double-digit core inflation. If you use the old metric, it's still almost as bad as it was during the peak of the Jimmy Carter era. You've got all sorts of problems. You had the problem with Ukraine, technically speaking. Just the other day, you have another problem where he's getting panned for sending a bunch of Abrams tanks to Ukraine, which won't even be ready for 6 months, by the way, at a bare minimum, because you have to train tank crews and get supply lines going before you can use them. Debacle after friggin' debacle. Look at the Twittergate scandal. That directly implicates the Joe Biden administration. His approval sank like a rock last year, recovered partially now, but in the wake of multiple problems there, gas prices mounting, wars and rumors of wars, Bidenflation, all of these other things, Biden has already taken a hell of a beating. The new idea is that all of that is irrelevant. Nobody cared about that stuff. They only care about the document scandal. And I'll tell you there's a double reason why. Number one, if you look at Joe Biden's failures in the economy, in diplomacy, etc., and you compare them to who? Donald Trump, it leaves Trump looking really, really great. The one area in which he can't do that because of the astroturfing of the legacy media already in the wake of the Mar-a-Lago raid is on the classified documents scandal. So the idea is that if you want to tackle the problem of we can't have Joe Biden running because he'll be too old, he's incoherent, etc., he's outlived his usefulness, we're trading him for another puppet. While attacking Trump, you have to have something where the public will generally, not everyone, but generally accept that the scandal is similar to something that Orange Man Bad did. The only thing they can really do that on is this, unless there's some left-wing insurrection attempt, but they can't even really do that because they've spent years and years making excuses every time Antifa decides to do $1 billion in damage. BLM shoots people, beats them up in the streets, Antifa members riot, they throw Molotov cocktails, they force the White House into a blackout mode, actually, over Kavanaugh, among other things. You have the George Floyd Summer of Love, Summer of Peace riots at large. Again, dozen people died, billions in damage was done. It was never cast off as even being political terrorism. It was cast off as protests that occasionally got out of hand. They were fiery but mostly peaceful. So they can't even attack Joe Biden on that. If they want to knock the steward down and get him out of the way so they can get Buttigieg 24, Gavin Newsom 24, Kamala Harris, which based on polling I don't think is going to happen, 24, Klobuchar, whoever they have in mind, Warnock out of nowhere. You know, it's going to be Beto. This time he's got a shot because everyone else is standing down. Elizabeth Warren, missing link candidate, although I think she's pushing the age where she wouldn't be highly viable either. Really, unless you have incumbency, you shouldn't be over 70 years of age if you're going to run for the presidency. Therefore, Trump and Biden and a few others, technically speaking, if Pence were a bit older, Mike Pence would fall into that slot, although he's got no chance. Other than that, you got to be a little bit younger. People are getting tired of the gerontocracy in D.C. You need a scandal where you can at least draw a false equivalency that'll be accepted by some independent voters with Trump. Well, that's the document scandal. That's why from day one I've said that this sort of shit's going to happen more and more. They're pretending as though this is the biggest problem that the Biden admin has ever had. I would argue there are at least 3 or 4 others that are bigger. The inflation rate is bigger. It harms people every day. The gas price is spiking. The lockdown-based backup in the trade supply, etc., in shipping. The war in Afghanistan ending in such a terrible fashion. A bunch of U.S. soldiers killed. People were taken hostage. The country's been overrun. We should have stuck to the Trump timetable, and Biden never faced any repercussions for pushing it back unilaterally so that it would be his withdrawal date instead of Trump's withdrawal date, which is the only reason that he did that. Biden has roasted the economy. Even mainline economists that tend towards the liberal are like, well, the economy is overheated right now. Part of it's because of Joe Biden's spending. Again, though, they try to draw the equivalency with Trump. Well, he was a free spender, too. Admittedly true. I've criticized him for that several times. So if you don't have anything else that you can possibly use to attack Biden and Trump at the same time because you're a unipartyist, the steward clearly isn't going to work in 24 and you want to attack Trump, it's classified documents. That's the only reason they chose it. They probably knew that the documents were there for years. They never cared until it became politically useful. Just to be clear about the shenanigans involved. Now, of course, I'm no fan of Joe Biden. I don't care if they shove him aside. The new puppet will be the same as the old puppet, though, but with greater viability. They're carefully looking at the field to figure out who they're going to astroturf for that run. That's about all. Peace out.